Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Natasha here, the business recruiter, and I'm back with another video for you. So for today's video, we are going to focus on exactly how recruiters go about getting paid. At this point, you know that recruiting can be lucrative. So exactly what does that mean in terms of how you go about getting your check? So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that today. So if that sounds interesting to you, then stay tuned. Okay, so full disclaimer here before we actually go ahead and dive into the video, I do want to make it known that I will be discussing how recruiters go about getting paid in terms of direct hire placements. So in terms of you working directly with a company, client, however you want to say it, in terms of being able to place a direct hire or a permanent hire within their organization. So I want to make sure that I get that out there right off the bat. So in terms of how you go about getting paid as a recruiter or as having a recruiting agency, it really works like a commission-based system. You'll get a percentage of the first year salary in terms of that candidate's offer or whatever that final offer ends up being. I think the easiest way to go about explaining how a recruiter gets paid is to go through that full process. That way you understand all of the steps associated with it. So the first step really is prospecting for potential clients or companies to work with. This means taking a look at those companies out there that have open requisitions, which of course is a lot of them. Once you find a potential client that you would like to reach out to, then you'll go ahead and reach out to them. At that point, let's speed it up. Of course, there's going to be some details in the middle of that, but let's say that you finally get on the phone or via email with that particular company or client, and you're able to get them into a contract. Now, you'll negotiate that contract with the client in terms of exactly what the terms will be. And one major piece of that is going to be the percentage of the first year salary that you'll get for placing that particular candidate for their open requisition. So this could be anywhere from 10 to 25%. The highest that I've ever seen is 25%, and the lowest that I've ever seen is 10%. Honestly, I would just say to make sure that you know your worth when you're going about that negotiation phase, you should not be getting paid anything less than 10% in terms of a direct hire placement. Ideally, I would say the sweet spot is anywhere between 15 to 20%. So once you have that contract in place with that particular client for their open requisition, you can now go about looking at candidates to fill their open rec. Let's say that you have worked with the client, you found a candidate that you feel is going to be a good fit. They go through the full interview process and the client decides that they want to go ahead and extend this particular candidate an offer. So that candidate as well as then the client will go through the negotiation phase with you being kind of that middle person. Usually it was me in terms of my experience with recruiting that was going back and forth with the client negotiating on the candidate's behalf. So once that particular candidate and the client come to an agreement in terms of the offer, then at that point you get a percentage of whatever that final first year salary is for that particular candidate. So let's add some numbers to it to make it feel a little bit real. So let's say in the beginning of the process, before you even started looking for candidates, you were going through that process with the client in terms of negotiating what your percentage would be. For the sake of this example, let's say that you were able to get 15%. Now you go through, you get the contract's in place, you're looking for candidates, and then as mentioned, you find a candidate who's a great fit. That candidate goes through the interview process, the client then offers them the position. They go through a little bit of negotiation, but they decide to land on $75,000. So you get the 15% of that $75,000, which is their first year salary. So essentially, you're getting $11,250 from placing that one candidate for that one requisition for that client. Now, let's say that you had multiple requisitions to fill for this particular client, and let's say that the starting salaries for those positions, we're just going to use easy numbers here, was $75,000. Let's say you had 5 of those. That's over $56,000 for placing 5 candidates with this particular company. Can you see why recruiting can be so lucrative? So how you actually go about getting paid? There's one last step, and that step involves sending over your invoice. Usually the invoice is sent over on the candidate's first day starting with the company. And then at that point, whatever terms that you have set in terms of how you actually go about getting paid is what the client will then adhere to. So that could be net 30, that could be payment upon the candidate's first day, which I have seen that with some recruiting agencies. It really depends on you and exactly what you feel is best. One other important thing to keep in mind is guarantees in terms of contracts, and that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video that we'll go into, but that is another important point of the contract in terms of how to actually go about, one, getting paid, but two, once you do get paid, to what you should keep into consideration in terms of money. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, then give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and as always, I am available in my Facebook group. I'll link that down below in the description box. Send me a DM if you have any questions. I'll catch you in the next video.